Race to Crashpoint Tower by Daniel Jose Older is the second middle grade book in the High Republic series, and it's one of, if not the most enjoyable middle grade book I've read in Star Wars since I was in middle school myself. Usually I read stories like these and I'm like, yeah, that was fun, but ultimately it's not written for me. It's for someone 20 or 25 years younger. Race to Crashpoint Tower might not have been written for me, but I really connected with it. Padawan Ram Jomaram is one of the two main characters, and I thought he was great from Chapter 1. He's a very unconventional Force user, preferring to work with machines and droids and speeders in the garage rather than study Force combat or lightsaber techniques. He is the most strongly connected with the Force when he's doing what he loves, and I think that's a great message. Just because something works for most Jedi or people, that doesn't mean it has to be your way of doing things too. You're gonna relate to the world around you in a unique way, and that should be embraced. But then I think to the prequel era Jedi, and I just can't imagine a Padawan like Ram existing. I suppose they could have, and we just never met them, but the Jedi of the High Republic seems so much more open-minded and varied. It ties back with something Stellan Gios says in The Rising Storm about how, of course, the Jedi all have passions, and they are all allowed to pursue them, as long as their lives remain in balance and their attachment to their passions doesn't overwhelm everything else. And attachment is brought up quite a bit in this book. That's kind of standard for Star Wars. It's a big theme in Anakin's story, of course. The Rising Storm brought it up too, but Race to Crashpoint Tower contains maybe my favorite discussions on attachment. That's the benefit of reading these middle grade books sometimes. The big lessons Star Wars is trying to teach us get boiled down into easier to digest passages. I really like what Older says about having attachments to people versus concepts. Don't get attached to the past and the life you used to have. Be open to change and accepting of the future. But also, don't attach yourself to outcomes or anything that you think should happen. Attaching yourself to those things that are gone or outside of your control will only lead to anger, frustration, and resentment. On the flip side, yes, you can form attachments with your friends and your family and the lives of those around you. Again, as long as you keep it all in balance. Don't let your attachment turn into possession or control, which of course is exactly what Anakin let happen. A lot of that discussion about balance comes from a great conversation between Vernestra Rwoh from the previous middle grade book and the other main character of this book, Lula Talasola from the High Republic Adventures comics, also by Daniel Jose Older. I've been impressed with that comic so far because, again, I usually see the Adventures line as fun, cute little stories. They're fine, but they're not for me. The High Republic Adventures have not been that way, and I think Older has just nailed down this ability to write in a way that is accessible and fun and exciting for a younger Star Wars fan, while still helping a fan in their 30s like me see things in a new perspective. If you've been reading the Adventures comic, you should absolutely read Race to Crashpoint Tower, because it feels like a direct continuation of that story. And this book is also much more tightly connected with The Rising Storm than A Test of Courage was with Light of the Jedi. I read The Rising Storm first, and Ram appears about halfway through the book and then exits the story. In Race to Crashpoint Tower, we get to see that scene again from Ram's point of view, but it didn't feel repetitive. It's actually really great mentally timing up the events in this book with what's going on in The Rising Storm. Things that are touched on in the novel are expanded upon and enhanced in the middle grade book. I feel like I have an even more clear picture of the chaos that erupts at the Republic Fair. Other themes in this book are perfect for the age group, all about seeing people for who they are, not what you want them to be or fear them to be, just for who they are. We get to see Padawans helping each other through grief and trauma. Lula helps Ram deal with his fear and despair with a hug. And I mentioned this in my review for The Rising Storm as well, but the Jedi Order of this era is much more understanding and compassionate than the Jedi of the prequels. I think we see Anakin hug Ahsoka in the Clone Wars, but I can't think of a single other example of one Jedi in the prequel era hugging another. If one of them is having problems, the others are like, "Hoo boy, better meditate on that. Good luck, the Force will be with you, etc." Their views on attachment have gone so far the other way in terms of balance, but I could probably do a whole other video on that. For now, I'll just say Race to Crashpoint Tower was great. It's a perfect companion to The Rising Storm. I picked it up immediately after finishing my review for the novel and then finished it in a day. A quick read, a fun read, a funny read. I really like Older's sense of humor, and new characters that I'm thrilled to know will stick with us because it sounds like Ram isn't going anywhere. If you want to check out Race to Crashpoint Tower for yourself, consider picking it up for free on Audible. Just follow the link in the description or visit www.audibletrial.com/Star Wars Explained. The audiobook is out right now, and the production value on all the Star Wars books is very high with sound effects and music. It's like listening to a movie. Signing up for an Audible trial will get you a credit for one free book, and you can use it on Race to Crashpoint Tower, or the other High Republic books, or just about any Star Wars book you can think of. Or get any book you want. The point is, you get a free book, and you'll be supporting the channel when you do. But that's it for today. I'd love to hear what you think of Race to Crashpoint Tower when you read it, so let me know down in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel to keep up with all our High Republic coverage, follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.